Hello and welcome. This is Vertilvius. I have changed my name. Sarud was an old Steam account that I had for a very long time, and I have been gaming under Vertilvius over the last couple of years in several different games. So I just switched my Steam name to Vertilvius to match all my other games that I play, and it was available, so that's what I did. Today I am bringing you some Civilization 6 Gathering Storm content. I've been tinkering with chopping mechanic and overflow for this new patch here, and I found some interesting stuff for sure. This game is on a standard setting. I do have Magnus posted out in my capital of Madrid, and I also have the Maritime Industries card locked in, along with the Urban Planning, which is +1 production. Now, this Maritime Industries card gives you 100% production towards ancient and classical era naval units. And how it used to work in Rise and Fall is you would bring a boat down to one turn. When you chopped with Magnus and that policy card and then applied it into a wonder, you would get an extreme amount of overflow and could produce wonders at an extremely fast pace. This is no longer viable in Gathering Storm, which is, in my opinion, a good thing. So I have been doing some testing this morning, and I'm going to kind of show you what I had figured out with it. The first thing I'm going to show you is when I have a boat down to one turn that has 52 out of 65 production, I'm going to chop this boat into another boat and then into another boat and show you what I found. And then I'm going to reload the game, and then I'm going to chop from the first boat into a wonder, and we'll see what that does as well. So let's get this chop. Like, the chop here is for 45 with Magnus. Generally it'll be 30, but because of Magnus you get a 50% increase of that. So that makes it 45. Like I said, it's 52 out of 65 for the boat. So when you chop, it will obviously complete the boat. So let's get this boat out of the way, and then let's go into a second boat. Now when you queue up the second boat, it still says 0 out of 65, but interestingly enough, when you complete the next turn, it just completes the boat
Thousands have lived without.
itself. So now you have two boats with one chop, and then when you go into a third boat and go to the next, let's complete these. And when you go into the third boat, you have 21 out of 65 cogs. And the reason you would get 21 out of 65 cogs is how that maritime card works. It's 100% towards production towards that unit. So if you're making a boat that costs 65 production, when you put 10.5 production into that boat, you actually receive 21. It essentially doubles the production towards that particular unit. So you receive no overflow whatsoever towards the third boat, but you did complete the second boat overall. So essentially what you're doing is you're chopping the first boat with 13 left over, so you receive 13 towards that chop. When you go to the next turn, 21 is applied to that boat from the production that your city is making. So that knocks down the cost of the boat to 44 out of the 65, and since it completed it, it actually overflows that 44, and you receive the second boat. So in total, you're actually receiving 57 total from your chop by doing it in that method. What we're going to interestingly find out in doing it a different way, which I will load this game up now. I'll reload the game. Yeah, so instead of getting 45 from the chop, you are receiving 57. So you still get somewhat of a little bit of a bonus. It's just not nearly as high as it
From
used
the
to be.
first stirrings of life beneath
What we will
water,
see is when
the
I
great
chop the boat
beasts of the
on the
Stone Age,
second,
to man
what I'm going to
taking
do
his
is I'm
first
going to
upright
complete a boat
steps,
and then have a
you have
boat
come
at
far.
0 out of
Now
65
begins your
production, and
greatest
then
quest.
chop that, and we
From
will
this
see that it
early
will actually
cradle of
complete the boat
civilization,
entirely. So essentially you're receiving 65 production on your chop rather than the 57 that we saw by doing it that way. So let's complete this boat. Let's see, we will complete this boat by switching to the next turn.
The man who has grit enough to...
And then we will add another boat. And we will see that this boat is at 0 out of 65. So when we chop with 48, now for some reason, and this is confusing to me as well, if you understand why this is happening, why I'm receiving 48 on the chop instead of 45, please comment, because I just don't understand where I'm getting the extra 3 cogs from. But anyways, with this, we will chop, and as you see, it completes the second boat. What I will do is I will actually queue up a third boat, and we will go to the next turn. Let's just do writing. And you will see that we will receive the standard 21 cogs towards the third boat, which is actually your production from your policy card and your city's production. So you get 57 total chop if you chop late into the first boat and then overflow it to the second boat. If you complete a boat and then start a fresh boat with 0 production into it and chop, you're essentially getting 65 production for that chop instead. So what I think is happening is you're still getting the 100% bonus towards the chop. It just does not overflow into the next turn is how it's working. If that is correct, like I said, or if I am incorrect, comment and please let me know. This is just the stuff that I have seen as far as this is concerned. So now let's actually load this up again, and I'm going to chop into a wonder and show you how chopping into wonders is no longer overpowered, I guess you can say, or extremely efficient, if you want to be nicely about it. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to take that boat that we had at 1, and then I'm going to chop into
From the first
it and then build the wonder and then go
water,
to the next turn, and we will see
how
we no longer receive a bonus towards the chop, and it's actually you're losing on the chop by doing that. So
now begins your greatest quest.
Basically what they did is they and like I said, I actually agree with this. I think that this system is a lot better. They just nerfed how you can build wonders extremely fast. And actually, I'm going to guess that it's probably going to work and slow unit production down as well. Because I remember I used to pump out horsemen left and right by using this mechanic in deity games, because you're so far behind in deity games, you had to take any advantage you could to get it. So anyways, actually, I don't get Hanging Gardens till the next turn. So let's put 1 turn into a builder here, and again, like I said, I'll show you. You get 45 cogs here for the chop. Let's go to the next turn.
The man who has grit enough to bring
astrology. Go back to the boat, and again, 48 cogs. Where are those 3 cogs coming from? I'm baffled at that. So let's chop this. That gives us our boat, which essentially is 13 production. And then we will go Hanging Gardens. We will put that down. And Hanging Gardens right now is 0 out of 180. Now remember, we chopped for 48, and there was 13 left over on that boat. So we will go to the next turn. And Hanging Gardens has 46 applied to it now. So on our chop of 48, we received 13 of it towards the boat, which drops it down to 35. And that 35 was applied to the Hanging Gardens plus the 10.5 makes it would actually be 45.5, but they round up, and that gives us our 46 out of 180 production. So now let's say if I chop again, 48, it'll be 48 again. And what I say this was 45, 46. Okay, so it'll be 46. It'll basically just add 48 and 46. And that's what we get. 48 and 46 is 94. So you no longer receive that huge bonus towards building wonders or chopping in districts. I know you could chop in some districts really quickly that way. Um, but it's no longer viable and it doesn't work that way anymore. But this was just a quick video on some stuff that I had found. Like I said, please comment if I have any of this incorrect. I think that chopping earlier in the process on a policy card is better way to go. You receive more cogs per se chopping earlier than you do later, just due to the fact that you get more overflow by chopping that way. Um, if you disagree with me or find any flaws in what I have tested, like I said, please comment and just let me know because I'm trying to figure this out myself. I do appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you and have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.